Hey guys, this is Nick, and this is game 2 in a mini-series of Tomb Kings versus High Elves, in which we use General 12-inch March Rule for the Undead, and we have a 12-point increase similar to the ETC comp. So Ryan is running 1250 of High Elves, and I am running 1400 of Tomb Kings. So Ryan does switch his list up a bit, and we are doing a high magic list. So no longer do we have the lore master. We've got a level 4. He's got high magic. He's got soul quench, apotheosis, walk between worlds, and fiery convocation. I ended up getting desert winds and vengeance, which is a new spell I haven't used yet with this little series. Vengeance is minus D3 in movement and treats all terrain as difficult terrain. So that could be good at slowing down that silver helm bust that you are about to see. Now this is a complete opposite in terms of his last list where it was very defensive. You got some Swordmasters. This is a complete mobile, aggressive list. So we've got a Silver Helm bust with a Noble BSB, and then the level 4 caster. 5 Reavers with nothing, they're naked. A Frost Phoenix, and then all the way to the left by the other impassable beer bottle, we've got an Eagle. In the middle we do have our Candy Forest. So we can see this is my deployment. I've got some guys ahead of the deployment line, and Ryan goes ahead and gets first turn. Fortunately, he did get the +1 to go first, so he deserved it because he had literally like 4 drops. So he does go ahead and remain outside of the Kemrian War Sphinx line of sight. So we have the Silver Helms coming around along with the Frost Phoenix. So we get Soul Quench onto one of the fast cav units, and I let it through. He ends up killing 2 of them, which is fine. He casts Apotheosis onto one of his heroes, which is no big deal, but it does end up getting a 5+ ward save on the Silver Helm unit, which I kind of forgot about. It has been a while since I've seen high magic in action. Oh, the Phoenix had something weird, like an extra initiative, but who cares? So here's my movement phase. I am allowed to march, so I march where possible. I really spread myself out and kind of wrap around from the left, sending my guys forward. I take the remaining 3 fast cav and shove them up against the Silver Helms to kind of keep him slowed and away. And the Kemrian War Sphinx to the right is getting ready to take a charge onto the Silver Helms, because if he overruns, he's set up to only be able to get 12 inches at max, and I'll be able to charge him no problem. The War Sphinx to the left is going to try to get around as quickly as possible, and all the other fast cav just kind of pull back. So the only spell I do get off, or essentially cast, is Vengeance, but he does scroll it. Vengeance was sent on to the Silver Helms in hopes to get some difficult terrain tests and kill a helm or 2, but he ends up dispelling that. So here we are in the High Elf turn. The Frost Phoenix goes ahead and charges this back unit of cav, which he should crush them. But anything that flies and charges my fast cav ends up dying, so who knows? Maybe these fast cav will be super special. The Silver Helms do go ahead and charge the 3 horse archers, and we kind of have to snap together there. And he goes ahead and kills those guys, no problem. And what did I say? Absolutely ridiculous. The Frost Phoenix charges in, only kills 1 guy with his 4 attacks, and he ends up suffering a wound from my guys, which is nuts. So we tie on wounds, and he charged, so I end up crumbling 1, which remains with 3 undead cav archers, and man, these guys are the shit. And this also frustrated Ryan to no end because he needed this guy to turn around and be able to support the Silver Helms in subsequent turns. So here we are into Tomb King's turns. Everything's moving from left to right, closing in here. The Silver Helms are charged by the Kemrian War Sphinx, which is pretty awesome. We go into combat, we do this one first. He does 1 wound onto me, and surprisingly I'm able to do a wound onto him, which is absurd, but we end up tying. So I can't tell if this was a good or a bad showing for the War Sphinx. I do get a charge in there, so I do have my +1 strength with the spears. I also made an effort to negate any spells last turn, so he has no ward save on these guys. I kill 4. That includes the 4 attacks from the Sphinx, the 4 attacks from the Howdah crew, and then the breath weapon that I have. Now, without Thunder Crush or Thunder Stomp, this guy seems less useful. I feel like he needs to be fighting infantry, which is what I'm realizing here. But you know what? I kill a bunch of guys, and it ends up being the case. So uh, I also get off Vengeance onto his guys, which is pretty useful. Or so I thought, because after he charges me, he doesn't fail any difficult terrain tests. But Ryan didn't know what he wanted to do here. The unit is not at full strength anymore, so it's less effective. He goes ahead and issues a charge into the Cambrian War Sphinx. He's pretty discouraged at this point because he doesn't have the support of the Frost Phoenix, but I do throw him a bone and say, listen, send the Eagle in too. If I kill it, I kill it. If I don't kill it, then you know what? You have a freaking flank charge and whatever. It'll just be helpful. He does move those fast cav up to get in the way, so the Tomb Guard cannot do a support charge. And into combat, I am able to do one wound onto the Eagle, and then two wounds. It looks like he killed two Silver Helms, which, you know, could be worse. He does get Apotheosis off, so it does give the guys a ward save, and it does heal one of the wounds on the Frost Phoenix, who, by the way, is still fighting these undead skeleton horse archers. Womp womp. Well, when it's all said and done, the War Sphinx ends up dying, but I do leave 3 heroes and 4 helms, so I think it's not the end of the world. So hopefully, you know, I do alright here. But unfortunately, in my turn, I cannot wheel past the fast cav. They're placed just nicely, so I cannot get a charge with the Tomb Guard. If I did, that probably would have been the game, but, you know, it is what it is. So I do some moving around, and I think I made a huge mistake here, and I'll get into the mistake in a moment, but the Tomb Guard do go ahead and just walk right up to the Silver Helms. This way I force that combat there. My guys to the right there get ready to do a flank charge. They take a couple shots, but of course nothing happens. Vengeance, which was off last turn, is now gone, and I can't cast any more spells because I failed to mention that he got off with Irresistible Force and he lost both his wizard levels. So the guy is useless now, so I decide, well, he's not entirely useless, I decide to put him into the unit of Tomb Guard. This way they at least get their regen save out of that against the Silver Helms. But that leads into my next thing that is what I think is a huge mistake and could possibly cost me the game. Since the archers had to let the caster out, they didn't do anything. And I was contemplating, Ryan and I were both talking about the charge onto the Phoenix. And then we decided, you know what, that's probably a really bad move. He'll, you know, thunderstomp me and do a lot of wounds, so I'll end up dying. I was like, I don't feel like losing all my archers to that. But then after a couple minutes, I started thinking, this was probably a really, really bad move to not do this, because at least I would have pinned the Phoenix down and they would have been sitting there fighting for a while. And then as you can see, we move into combat and he finally kills off the horse archers, and now, bam, the end of my turn, the Phoenix is ready to go ahead and support charge all this crap over here to the left. So, agree or disagree, comments below. Should I have charged the Phoenix to pin him down? I say probably yes. Yeah, would I have lost all my guys in a turn or two? He would be free again? Probably, but you know what? Just pinning him down would have probably won me the game. But now we move into Ryan's turn, and obviously everything closes in onto the Temple Guard, which is only 20 strong now with the 2 heroes in there. And the fast cav move over to the side to kind of block my fast cav. This way I can't get a flank charge in too easily. And that's probably going to end up being the game. I feel like I'm still alright. I got weapon skill 5 in that entire unit, which is pretty defensive against the Silver Helms. And I do have my caster in there, and I mean my Tomb Prince, which will be pretty useful in combat. Ryan, for good taste, decides to do Fiery Convocation and kills 14 of these archers. So 14 of these guys are dead. I didn't feel like unranking them, so there's the Magic the Gathering 14 wound counter. So this is what goes down. The unit gets like destroyed. I crumble a handful. The Phoenix fights his way out of combat, but we looked up the rules and we checked that out. And since he's attacking, so apparently he's supposed to keep sliding down. You know, let me know below if that's correct or not. So we have him slide down so he stays in combat, because if he would have fought his way out of combat and he didn't remain in the next turn when it was my turn, then I probably would have won the next round of combat without lances or anything. But we push him down so he's still touching. In my turn, I do go ahead and issue a charge onto the flank of his fast cav, and I end up doing no wounds to them and they stay. And then after a while, the Phoenix goes ahead and just kills my guy over here. So the Tomb Prince did pretty decent in this combat. He has a great weapon with 3 attacks. He's got a 4 board save, 3 wounds. He gave the unit that weapon skill 5, which made him a lot easier to stay alive. The regen helped a little bit. I saved about 4 or 5 wounds, but at the end of the day, it just didn't cut it. So that ends up being the game. This was definitely a lot more interesting with the Helm boss. As you can see there, he's only got 2 silver helms left and 3 heroes, so I killed a lot of them. They were not as effective after the first charge because they just lose. Once they start losing all those attacks with the lances, it's no bueno. But this game could have gone a lot worse for me if the Phoenix didn't hang out as long. But if I did some better maneuvering or proper charges, I could have taken on that Helm bus with my charges. But hell, the fact that I lost my strength is huge. Always strike last, I didn't care about, but that's strength. I had halberd, so going from strength 5 down to strength 4, just not as effective, not as efficient. So Ryan ends up taking the victory for this game. Neither of us felt like we really deserved the win because it was just really, really weird dice rolling, really odd luck, which I didn't really discuss too much during the game. I just showed you more of the maneuvers and the outcomes. But it was definitely fun nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think on this whole development of rules that we're using here with the Tomb King as we got the marching. The marching really didn't play too much of effect in this game. Maybe the Kemrian War Sphinx from the left was able to get around a little bit further without any issues. And other than that, it was, no big deal. The extra points is what really, really, helped me out here with getting those 2 War Sphinxes down. So Ryan is very analytical and really studies his bell curves, and he loves his numbers and stuff, and he understands the randomness of this game. But when shit like this happens, it drives him crazy, and I could tell it was frustrating the shit out of him because this Phoenix, there was no way that this Phoenix shouldn't have killed those guys. Hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, crumble. He should have been able to crush this unit in tops 2 turns, but essentially the first turn it should have been the case. But he was missing his hits, he was missing his wounds. It's just no good. And we sat down and we figured it out. This was the fact that this went on for 3 turns was like less than 1% chance of happening again. And that didn't include me maybe getting off some spells. Because I never really targeted them with spells to bring any of those guys back, which made it even worse. But it's just freak things happen sometimes in Warhammer where the probability and the effectiveness of what units are and should do just don't play out when the dice get figured in. And no matter how well you play your game and how well you make good decisions, you still have to be understanding of these crazy random situations that happen. And sometimes it really breaks the game for people because you set up a good maneuver, you do a good flank, you set up a good list, a good roster is what really helps you out sometimes. And when it all falls apart because the dice say, screw you, the game just becomes less predictable. But it is what it is. That's Warhammer for you. I hope you guys enjoyed yet another Warhammer Battle Report. I'm going to mix some Warhammer in with some Mordheim, so I hope that's appreciated on all levels. Some people are happy to see some Warhammer back. Some people want more Mordheim. So I'm just glad I've got demands for videos, because that keeps me going. So just let me know what you guys want to see. Pretty soon there should be some Crossroads prep. 2,400 points of Skaven probably, because I want to get some Storm Fiends on the battlefield. So let me know what you guys have in mind, and I'll see you in the next video.